I think that I will start sharing the screen right now with the presentation, and we'll have a quick, let's have a quick round of introductions right now. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Evgenia Michalčuk-Vráblík, and I'm the Global Director of Growth at Flex Databases, and been here for, at Flex Databases, for 9 years, and in clinical research for 17 years now. And also today from Flex Databases with me gonna be Malik, our validation manager. And also, of course, our key guest for today from our partners, Deloitte, Dr. Nico Erdmann, if you can introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, so I'm part of Deloitte Germany, and I'm responsible for IT quality projects, so everything that has to do with computer system validation and also IT compliance. And there's certainly then also for the topic then compliance of AI systems, the reason we're here today.
Yeah. Thank you, Nico, so much for joining. Very excited to have you. So I'll start sharing the screen. Somehow I cannot share just the presentation. So I will share the entire screen. Hope you're not gonna be too scared by this. And we're gonna start right away. So I guess now you can see it. And just to kind of run through what we're gonna have today, thank you so much for joining. I hope you already understand what's gonna happen, but just in case, we're gonna see the demo of automated filing of documents and metadata assignment in the eTMF. I'm gonna show that one. Then we're gonna discuss the validation, and Malik from Flex Databases will shed the light on AI validation and control, what should be provided by tech provider, us. And of course, Dr. Nico Erdmann will also tell us about assuring GXP compliance for AI applications, the customer perspective. So let's start with my part. And just in case, I'm going to remind you about Flex Databases. We have a lot of clients, but we still also have some of the new faces. So Flex, what we do is develop clinical systems for research, biotech, pharmaceutical companies, medical devices. And we've been around already for 13 years, since 2011. And right now, we have about 100 clients and 20,000 users on board of the systems. And what we have is this complete eClinical suite. It is a platform, secured, unified, compliant, validated, of course, with a number of modules that typically our clients come in and pick and choose, whether it's my favorite trial master file and document management system, or our full CTMS, or project management and finance, that is to plan the project, budget the project, and check all of the controls, see what's going on, what's happening, and even what should be invoiced within the clinical trials. And compliance and quality, of course, with learning management system for SOPs and trainings, and the quality management system as well for all of the CAPAs, audits, and such of the world. And of course, our safety database from Vigilance. So that's what we have. We're going to focus on trial master file. Just in case, again, for the new faces, just want to remind you that, of course, our trial master file, besides the advanced features like AI or the quality review, it also has all of the basic features that it should have, like TMF reference model with structure and metadata that you can change also. It's very flexible. There is full audit trail after any action taken in the system. Access control, of course, the real-time statistics on folder completeness, widgets, reports, comments, queries, you name it. So it's all there. And getting to AI topic of our today's meeting. If everything is so good and trial master files are so electronic already, why use AI, and why we even decided to go that way? So every time I have trainings with our new employees onboarding, I explain them that we are in the business of efficiency and compliance. So basically, we believe and we see how AI can improve both. With efficiency, of course, AI can process documents simply faster than human beings, and it can significantly reduce the efforts and the time within the clinical trial space, as well as cost reduction that are kind of interconnected. With automated filing of documents, it will lead to significant cost savings, especially if we have bigger studies and the large-scale studies. And another thing is real-time processing. So AI works 24/7, and the filing and assigning metadata happens in real time, just as soon as the document is uploaded. We're going to see that exactly how it works. And another thing is scalability. With AI, when the volume of the documents is growing, AI can easily scale up to handle this increased volumes without the need for additional staff. And at the same time, the staff can actually focus on the core activities. The clinical research staff can focus on more critical activities that require human expertise and judgment that AI cannot help us, and we don't foresee it helping tomorrow or something like that. And as to the compliance, of course, the accuracy, AI is trained to identify and classify documents with high precision to reduce the errors in filing and metadata assignment. And the compliance, of course, again, AI can help maintain compliance with the regulatory requirements, ensuring that the documents are filed in the correct place and the metadata is applied accurately. All this being said, in no way we want to say that AI is a silver bullet or some sort of fantastic future. It's just another step in automation. How we used to have this binders and binders, rooms and rooms of documents. We'll probably remember how we were going through them manually, preparing to an audit or inspection. Then we had, digital spaces where we kept it. Then we had electronic trial master files with automated statistics on folder completeness, missing documents and such. So now on top of it, we're just going to have like an AI assistant to file the documents. So it's just another step, not something fantastic or scary. Getting to the exact use case that we're going to show in a minute is the idea was and is that you can take a picture with your phone of a document, email it to trial master file, or email a document to trial master file, or drag and drop a document into trial master file, somehow upload a document to trial master file, and that's it. Before AI, after that, you need to place it into the correct folder and add metadata. So now with AI, there is nothing. So you don't have to put it into the correct place. You don't have to assign metadata. This part is going to be done by the AI. So that's the use case. Let's have a look how it actually works. So again, just for the new faces today that haven't seen our system, I want to remind that it's a web-based system where you don't need to download anything. All you need is internet connection and a browser. Once we go into our trial master file, we first see all of the projects that we are managing in one place, like all of the documents that we need to review, approve, log, whatnot. And then let's go into one of the projects. And here we see with you the eTMF reference model, of course. We see our nice interfaces. We can see documents as icons or as a list. This is completely up to you. The interface quite user-friendly and configurable. Then a lot more other things like expected and missing documents, your various reports, queries, quality review, master copies, etc. I wanted to remind also our current clients about the last webinar with quality review function, where you can schedule quality review, say quarterly or something, when you need to check the documents and the completeness. So here you can set the start date, due date, who's going to be responsible for it, what percentage of documents you want to review, and then what folders you're going to review, those randomly selected documents. Then you can start the review. You're going to receive notification, of course, and you can see how it's going on, how you review the documents. This is my previous favorite feature. Here you can also add a query to a document, say send it to Peter, say something like maybe it's the wrong date. And we're going to say that this is a request for correction and it's going to be completed by the end of this week. And we just send the query. We can see how numbers recalculated. But in the end of the day, besides this quality reviews and being compliant, it's important to demonstrate the compliance. So I want to remind you that we also implemented the automatically generated report on the quality review, on this periodic quality review, so you can demonstrate the oversight of the trial master file. Here you can see all of the list of all documents that we checked during the review, all of the queries open, the summary and conclusion. So that's just another thing I wanted to remind, that we have a brilliant trial master file even without the added AI, and you can use it without it. And as to AI, let's see how we can do that now. So how we can get the documents into trial master file, as I mentioned, you can email documents in, you can drag and drop documents in. If we email it, it's going to land here in the inbox. So when recording this, I just drag and drop document here. You can see the system uploading a document. And it's just there in not classified in one of the folders. And we can see the AI classification log. This is our document. And now it says waiting for classification. We can also see some documents already successfully classified, some declined due to low confidence in probability, how sure we are in what the AI did. And we see a way higher probability of 99%, 98%, 98 again, 91 somewhere. Let's check if the document is still in the inbox and we're still processing it. It's here, yeah, didn't move. And let's also check the properties of the document. So now you remember we just uploaded it. I don't see anything about AI so far. Let's check metadata. Okay, barely any, yeah. So the study, when uploaded, but no document date, no site, no country. And while the system is still processing, we're gonna compare what's gonna happen after the AI completes the work. We'll just refresh the page and see that the document is no longer here. Let's check the AI classification log. Let's see what happened there. Updated. And we can see that the document has been successfully classified with 99% probability or confidence. And we can go ahead and check the path of the document, where it is, and we'll see how it looks now. So the document has been classified to site management, to this site. This is the investigator brochure. And let's check the properties of the documents now. Where's the document? Here it is. And we can now see in the properties classified by AI. But we're not only interested in classification, we're also interested in metadata. So let's check what about metadata. Now we added country, site, and document date. So let's check if the document date is correctly added. And yep, looks like March 20, all correct. It worked. So that's good. We can also see, again, the files where it is. It's site management, site setup, then what site and what the document is. So this is the AI. Basically what we had was a file. What we have now is a set of data classified in the correct place with the metadata. I didn't do anything for it to happen. Another question that is important and what we implemented, so the question is the trust to AI, and what we implemented is the co-pilot. So the way that user can actually control the AI. You have seen that the percentages, the confidence level or probability, that is how sure we are, how confident we are in the correctness of this automated classification by AI. What you can do with that is you can set the percentage. For instance, you can say if the confidence is below 80% or 90% or 95%, then user must confirm or decline classification. Otherwise, it's considered unsuccessful. So in the system, there is confirm or decline AI classification function where we can tick the box, say all good, or decline if this is wrong. You don't have to do that to 100% of documents. You can decide, like, if we are sure, like 95% sure that everything is good, that I'm not checking it. So we just file the document with 99% probability. If it's below, then I'm gonna go check. Or you can check them all if you want to. Let's have a look at how it looks in the system. We are again in our trial master file. Let's see all of our documents. We'll just check the same document. I went to my views, and here, this is a place where you can pre-select number of documents based on various parameters. This selection here is AI classified, but we can modify it and change it to something else, like AI classified for a specific period of time, for instance, or for instance, with the specific probability, yeah, and our confidence. Here you can see that we've selected only successful. Unsuccessful are those below certain confidence. We can also filter it by classification confirmed or classification declined if we want to. So this is done to give you additional control as a co-pilot. And also, of course, AI is learning as you are confirming or declining this classification. So let's have a look at this specific document. Let's try confirming that everything is good. In the interface, it looks exactly like this. I also in the, here I zoomed in to show you, this is, so the system is asking classified successfully, yes or no. So let's click yes. And we will also check the properties of the document. So you remember it was classified by AI. If I go to document card right now, it's not gonna show me classified by AI anymore because a human user actually confirmed it. So there is no AI classified anymore. It just says that I uploaded the document, when I uploaded, etc. Of course, in the audit trail, there's also gonna be this full sequence of all events. Let's compare it to a document that is still not confirmed whether it was correct or not. But again, you don't have to do it for 100% of documents if you don't want to. It depends on your setup, how you want to use it. So this document still has the classify by AI, and the other one doesn't have it. So, all good. Let me just check. Okay. And what else can we see here is classification confirmed now for this document, and you can still see the probability. And you can see that for previous documents, some were confirmed, some still successful. And this is how we implemented this Copilot feature, just to give you more control of the situation. As to some of the frequently asked questions by our clients during the last talks about our new feature, I just want to address them here. So some of the questions were like, is it like ChatGPT? Do you store all data in one place? So this is not a public AI like ChatGPT. Data is not used cumulatively or stored all together. We, of course, as always, use local servers, now not someone else's clouds. And another question was how data is not mixed when being processed. So we use separate server with our AI. It's a closed and local servers in EU and the US, depending on the client go. We know that besides the EU and the US clients, we also have our clients in New Zealand, in Singapore, Australia, Brazil, South Africa. So it depends. It also has a protected API channel to it and encrypted connection, of course. And there are queues of AI processing requests, and each client has their own to avoid any data mix. So this was, I think, important to address. And I see that it is interesting for the current clients, at least. And the next topic for today is typical software validation approach versus AI validation approach. And as you know, AI has this dynamic nature. And when we develop another clinical solution, we have specification, then test against specification, and we understand what should be the end result. With AI, the end result of clicking on the buttons can be slightly different every time because it's learning. And this is an interesting question. And I think I will give the floor to Malik. Hopefully he's going to shed some light on this. Malik, if you want to take over, it's all yours.
Yeah, okay. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can start sharing.
Yeah, okay. I will immediately. Sorry, guys. Seems my camera is not going.
No worries.
Yeah,
no
so
worries, Malik. We remember how you look.
Yeah, well, okay. Let me share my slides. Just a second. Okay. All right, just a second. Okay. Guys, are you able to see my presentation?
Yes, you can start the slideshow.
All right, sure. So, okay. All right. Okay. So,
yeah, it's for some reason doesn't show the whole presentation, but I think if you can just hide the left panel, then we still can see it. Yeah, I had the same problem, but let's just roll with it.
Okay, so I will go with this style then. All right. So are we good to go?
Yep, let's go.
All right. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Evgenia. All right, so as Evgenia just mentioned that I will be presenting the AI validation in brief, and basically just before I go ahead, when we speak about AI validation, what we expect ourselves to compare the process of AI validation with the traditional application validation. So what we are expecting to validate. So are we going to have a solid model to validate, or are we going to have something with extra parameters to be included? So basically, essentially, both the traditional applications and the AI applications are actually supposed to be represented as computer programs, but the main borderline here, or the main actually difference between these two, is the either deterministic state with the traditional applications or the probabilistic state. And when we refer to those, is that one of them, if we have a deviation or an error, will be static if we repeat the process of running the program that would produce that error with the same parameters inputted. So if we apply this one to a traditional application, we would get the same output over and over again without changing any parameter. But if we do the same with AI, we wouldn't be 100% receiving the same output in this case. So the factor here is data. So in this case, we are actually processing data with traditional applications to get specific outcomes. But for AI, we don't do that exactly. We have data for training. We have data for validation. We have data for testing. We have data for quality control. So basically, we have this data as a part of the learning process. That means the development, training process, the validation process, the testing process, and so on. So basically the error, as I earlier mentioned, that either will be deterministic, which is for traditional methods, or it will be somehow not deterministic or probabilistic, where we may have some error due to quality of the data or relevant factors to the data. So the risk factors that are actually imposed on such a structure come usually from data quality. This is one of the main factors, or the used data in training the module, training the model, used model, ML model, or the amount of used data for training, or the validation set used, or the testing set used. So basically, these are risk factors. On top of that, we may have the traditional application issues or risks, the irregularity in operations, let's say bugs, for example, and sometimes some emerging situations. So basically, we have issues with the data. On top of that, we have either the bugs that may emerge or other impact from other integrated modules or operations or processes. So basically, for eTMF, the one presented by our colleague, is basically tuned according to GAM5 life cycle phases. And basically, in these, we have three main stages that we have to address, but we expanded them a little bit more. But in essence, they are the same. We have the concept, and then we have the risk assessment, and then we have the operation. For the concept, for our case, we need to see what kind of validation or verification step we need to go through, what kind of data life cycle, and the details to be captured. In our case, as actually was displayed, what we needed to do, actually, we needed to describe what actually will be performed by AI. Are we going to classify a document, for example, in this case? Okay, we are going to classify a document. So what results are we expecting? So we need specific data to be displayed, fonts, metadata, and so on. Okay, and based on what probability or accuracy in this case, what is our expectation of the error margin? Well, in that case, the data lifecycle will be, we will have data identification check, and we will have a metadata check, and we will have document quality check. And the details to be captured for validation purposes are actually the technologies used for AI, and also the frameworks, libraries, anything involved in the deployment of AI, or maybe if it is built from scratch, it should be also highlighted. And on top of that, also we need to know what kind of algorithms used and the hyperparameters used for that AI, and maybe if there are initial parameters, values to be tuned or to be supplied. And in specification, we have this stage of describing actually what the data will be used for, which data will be used for training, which data will be used for validation, which data will be used for check, and what kind of action to be actually done to achieve the results. And once we have moved to the data cycle or the data life cycle in here, well, how are we going to manage the activities? Do we have specific acquisition of new data? Do we have partition for the used data for training, for testing, for validation? And again, we need to capture the selected technologies, algorithms, and the structure, the architecture. And if we have some specific iterative activities like the model design, the model training, the testing, the hyperparameter tuning, and also finally the validation process, it could be UAT testing, could be any other sort of recommended validation processes by different guidelines. So basically, if we move to the next phase, the risk assessment, now we need to specify the the risk factors. So basically, we addressed those earlier. Just we give a brief on them, related to data, related to bugs, related to impact of other modules or incremental feature change, etc. And we need to have a mitigation measures, and then we need to have the acceptable error rate or definition of the percentage of the error. Once those are defined, the testing process goes in. So basically, we have a model set. We need to test it. So we need to run an AI check on selected data. So this is data, not the one used for training, a separate data that's supposed to be used for testing purposes. And then we need to run a manual check. So we run the data with AI and run the data with a manual check, and then compare the results and see the outcome, if it is acceptable or not. So basically, in that case, the data life cycle that we are speaking about, we could use the analogy of our eTMF directly, like, for example, the quality of the document, the format, the font, the metadata provided, whatever representation of the document that we have after the AI classification. For the operation, once this one is tested and verified, that's validated, that means it can go to operation, then we need to have the implementation and usage. And then if there is any introduction of new data, then we need to have the process, again, a new cycle of validation. And again, if there's introduction of new data to be used in the training process, there must be data risk assessment, like the impact on the data that is supplied or input to the model. And then we need to monitor the performance of this model while it is on operation. And we need to keep an eye on the risk assessment. Actually, if there is any change in the configuration, if there is any change in the coding, or anything related to testing, again, training, etc. So basically, the last stage will be ongoing performance check. So this one can be applied independently. So on our side, it should be applied independently. If a client is using this one, it should be applied independently. So if we are going to define, let's say, a new check for our AI system, then we need to revalidate it, re-verify it. So if we are going to retrain it or maybe tune the module again, we need to revalidate it. And if that is the case, this is on our side. Until it is verified, validated, it could be provided as a new version for the client. So basically, what do we provide as a end user validation support by Flex databases? Basically, we provide the following documents. We provide validation certification for the baseline module versions. That means that the module is validated and it's ready for use and should be performed according to the end user intended use. And also we provide the user requirement specification, the installation qualification documentation, the traceability metrics, and we provide the operational qualification in terms of the testing summary report. And if there is a specific configuration for the client side, we have a separate OQ in this case. We provide the maintenance plan, while the support, the backup, the data recovery plan, the maintenance procedure by Flex databases, as well as the user acceptance testing scenarios for the modules to be implemented, training certificates, vendor qualification supportive documents like QMS master index, CVs, job descriptions, 21 CFR Part 11 assessment, and other documents upon request or audit. So there might be like specific documents to be requested or upon audit. So for the implementation, now basically for the implementation, let's have a more helicopter view of the implementation that we provide or we do at Flex databases. With any implementation that we initiate at Flex databases starts by a kickoff meeting. And the same week with this kickoff meeting, the servers should be set up. And we provide you with the QA environment of the system, and then train the system admins to use the system. And then after that, we provide the validation package and guide you through the use of user acceptance testing, the deployment of user acceptance testing, as this is a part of performance qualifications, which is mandated by GAM5. So it is a part of the validation process. And then when everything is getting closer to production, we train the end user to use the system and go on production, and we are live. So that is the cycle we provide at Flex Databases. Thank you very much for listening, guys, and I will pass the stage to Evgenia.
Oh, it's I've done my part. It's Nico's part.
Okay, Nico, sorry. Excuse me.
Nico will, thank you so much, Malik. Nico will cover the client perspective.
Okay, I'll mute myself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take over the screen now. Let me know when it's visible.
All good. We can see.
Great. Good. Yes, I would like now to take some minutes to basically lift this fog around. You've seen now what is basically provided by a vendor, and now we would like to come to a customer perspective, because pretty sure quite some of you have seen the GAM5 second edition with a certain model. Now, how does it all fit together? That's basically that's something I would like to clarify in the next 10 minutes. Let's get started. Maybe taking one step back, just as a background, who I am. So I'm part of Deloitte, and they're part of a team that's taking care of end-to-end business transformation in the GXP area. So in general, I don't want to take this too long. So we provide devices, we provide services along like all parts of your business process. So in there, we're taking care of advice, implement, and operate. And they're also supporting in, for example, then wanting that recommendation or regulatory intelligence, certainly also in terms of trustworthy AI. Just a short disclaimer. So this is my personal opinion in the next few slides. But quite some of this is actually already published content. So challenges now from your perspective that I see it basically as a third party is now, what are your responsibilities? What's the distribution of responsibilities? Now, what are the specific requirements and to controls? How do you manage controls? Certainly, then how does it all integrate to your business process? And what are documentation requirements? These are general challenges that I usually see. This picture, I'm pretty sure that quite some of you recognizes that this is basically coming from GAM5 second edition, and it shows basically the data lifecycle that's coming in addition to your normal validation process. Now, we actually added, as part of the ISPA community, added on top of it is, because I mean, this is a life cycle. We already heard about the iterative nature, but actually what you should consider there on top is how to do risk management along this process. How do you integrate it? We talked a lot about data. How do you manage your data? How do you store it? And certainly also the configuration. And basically what we actually, because all over this development process, there are certain risks popping up. And one recommendation then can be that you actually like cluster these buckets and discuss risks as part of these clusters. It usually helps then also later for visualization. Now, we heard basically by the previous part from Flex Databases, providing you pre-trained model, but then things are then trained with your data. So it's a bit the question, how do you deal it with from a customer perspective? And out of this picture, I don't think it doesn't really get clear, but because basically what you actually have to think about is that, I mean, you have this cycle basically twice. You have it once on the software provider perspective side for the pre-trained model, and then again you have this cycle in terms of the refining of your model based on your data. And then certainly out of this, I think then it gets more simple to see actually how to ensure that you're in control of the system if you take this split approach. So on the one hand, certainly the software provided training, this is something you can just ensure via the qualification, and certainly they're looking at their development cycle for the AI application, and certainly how they govern the pre-trained model. And when it comes then to the refined model, so the final model, this is something then you have to take separately as part of your validation, where you have to apply distinct risk management approach. And certainly what is with AI getting much more important than with your normal system, that's basically the entire governance of the operational phase, and certainly depending on the level of autonomy of a AI system, certainly you need to have more control during the operational phase and more monitoring. We talked a lot now about risks. What does it actually mean? I think we've heard already some examples, but then to bring this down a little bit more in detail. So we talked about, you've seen the specific examples. So one example risk would be then actually insufficient examples of your specific customer documents for in general as initial data set. Another aspect then from another part would be that, I mean, yes, you have you've trained your system with a lot of data, but maybe so you checked, okay, you have different types of documents, but maybe one document has actually like a higher variability. So actually then maybe for this specific document, the confidence isn't that high. So there's something where you have to look into how this model is actually then trained to then see the confidence level on for this document. So it's all something you have to consider during this implementation. And certainly we talked about generally a lot about confidence and accuracy. Before you start these projects, you have to consider how your risk appetite is. So as the example from Flex database, you can define a certain trust level. If it's 95%, 98%, 99%, but still you will, because it's always statistics, so there's always a residual risk. And that is something you should think about how to handle these risks. Do you have then a review process? Do you just accept the risk? Do you have a certain review process afterwards implemented? And that is something you have to think from a process perspective. So on a criticality level and on the process, maybe you already have a review cycle behind it where you say these minimal percent, which actually the system said it is confident, but in the end something is missing. That is something you should consider then actually during the part of this part of the risk clustering. And with this, I'm already at my last slide. So takeaways, certainly you have to look at the entire development process if you are implementing these kind of applications. Also, as part of the specific subsystems, so we see in here it's a part of a system. There you have to actually go further, and it's a general part of how to do validation according to GAM5. You should integrate your validation approach when it comes to vendor and customer side, so that you think qualification and validation more in an integrated way, and certainly to check where to implement process controls and certainly the governance during operation. So as general approach, so in line with what we've seen before, certainly at first should basically think about responsibility. Certainly then the next part is qualification of your vendor and of the QMS before the validation part. Certainly implement the controls in your process, and finally certainly monitoring is always an important part towards this as well, that you keep basically the level of trust and you can show that you're in control of your process. With this, I'm thank you for your attention and giving back to Evgenia.
Thank you, Nico, so much. Very insightful. Thank you. That's definitely the key of today's meeting. So we have, I would say, too many questions. We'll try to address some of them. If not, we'll just come back to you. Hopefully we can save this chat history to come back to everyone after. But I'll start with Raphael's then, because he was first. Did not expect less from you. I think I should have told you when inviting that you should keep it easy on me. But so Raphael's question was, is the confidence only for classification? What about metadata extraction confidence, especially for handwritten informations? So handwritten information is still the future. So the system wouldn't be able to recognize that at the moment. About the confidence for classification, yes, the level of confidence is for classification. About the metadata extraction, that is easier to actually map the metadata that you expect to receive from certain documents and keep it on that level, and then the system kind of understands better what is expected in terms of the metadata. Then the question is how the AI can learn without detailed feedback, since we're only approving or declining. So when declining, that's what I haven't shown just for the sake of the time. When you're declining, you then place the document in the correct space, and then the system learns from this, from where you actually put the document. From where the training data are coming from? Well, easy. It's beta testing by the 2 clients of ours. And then another question regarding whether the presentation will be available. Of course, we'll share the recording from today, so you'll have all of this information from today. Then another one, whether AI have to be retrained after an update. Yes, it gets retrained after update, but not in live mode, but in schedules. But with every update, then it gets better and better. And then Jose, nice to see you today. Thank you also for question. The question is the system learning from each site's documents so it gets better at recognizing our specific site study documents? Yes, it does. This is exactly how it works. And again, when I was saying it's no silver bullet, what I meant is we need to understand that the system, the AI, recognizes very well the standard documents within TMF reference model. So when we're talking handwritten notes, meeting minutes, or something, email communication with the sites, then this is where we see a drop, and there's one of the questions later on about what is the challenge for AI. This is where we see the drop in the confidence when filing. So yeah, the more of these types of documents you're filing, even outside of the standard ones, the better the system understands your behavior and how to file files later on. So the next question was that the validation support that Malik listed was for the whole system. What about the AI part? They're also going to be provided for the AI part as well. So Malik was showing the normal approach and the advanced approach, not advanced, but with the onboarding of AI. It's a continuous validation approach, and all of those documents also will be provided and covered by us. So then Jose comes up with another question. Thank you. Whether this is based on a tried and tested OCR system, just in case this is the system when eTMF recognizes text in pictures, and then the question goes on, or more recent machine learning tools. Yes and yes. So we have OCR in the system reads the pictures or whatnot. So you can take a picture at the side of a document, mainly to eTMF, and it's going to recognize, and the search function works in the name and in the content. But of course, for exactly the automated classification, we use the machine learning tools. But again, from my presentation, not the open public ones, but the private ones. So then Skyla is asking, in addition to extraction metadata for wet signatures dates, can the system capture the correct dates when document date is not clearly labeled as document date? For instance, many contracts are effective on the date of the last signature. Can the system detect the final date when multiple dates are provided? So first of all, with the wet signatures, that's any kind of written information, that's where we still struggle. Secondly, regarding different dates, this is fine. Within the metadata mapping, you then will have just several dates, and the system will recognize each of them, and we'll just add it separately as separate dates. It's not going to compare dates to each other. It's just going to recognize separate dates and add them to the metadata, respectively. So Sarah from one of the clients also asking, how will AI, and we still have 4 minutes, I'm checking because the webinar gonna automatically stop at 6. So how will the AI determine the appropriate date for the metadata if the document includes multiple dates? So that's how there's gonna be several metadates with dates. And then the placeholder question, if there isn't an empty placeholder available in destination folder, or if there isn't a placeholder with the correct PH template name, will the AI default to use generic template name, or will the template name be based on the original document name? Will be based on the original document name. Team is asking, we still have 3 minutes. Is this AI, oh my God, it's loading. No, it's okay. Just a second, I've lost Tim's question. Is this AI system already being used by your clients, will be implemented in future? What is the average approval success rate of documents? What is the biggest contribution of failure metadata detection so far, scan quality, missing documents, etc.? So yes, this it's being used right now because we need to train it. It's on our clients that are using it as a beta versions. And as to what is the average rate, this probability confidence rate on average is about 90-95%, given the rest of the documents that are more difficult than the standard documents. So that's so far, and I don't see it rising way more. I think that we're quite happy with 95%. It's already, I think, better than manually putting the documents everywhere. You can just check the level of quality of manual work, and you can see that it's gonna fall below 95% of accuracy. As to what the biggest problems with the failure, non-standard documents, definitely. So, and then, Tim, you've guessed it, some missing information, the scan quality, that would definitely be a problem. Sometimes there are also some cases, funny cases. Internally, we don't have time for the jokes, but it can have some weird responses sometimes as well. I mean, this is AI in the end of the day. Evita is asking, is AI able to move documents within current version? And oh my God, too many questions now. And I think we need to finish, but I'll try. Sarah is laughing. Sarah, I think I didn't say something weird. That's good. Team, thank you. We'll try. Hopefully we'll retrieve these questions and we'll respond them outside of the webinar. Thank you so much. I really love that you have so many questions. I see that it did make sense to have this webinar. And Nico, Malik, thank you so much. I wouldn't be able to be that smart. So you made the difficult
Thank you.
things. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Goodbye.